which is on now, and turn it over to Elizabeth. Elizabeth?
Hi there. So I'd like to introduce Chuck. He is the Community Service District Chair, and he's going to show you a PowerPoint tonight. And like Rudy said, if you have a question, put it in the chat, please. And then we will leave plenty of time at the end of Chuck's presentation to go through all of the questions. So Chuck, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Let me go back. We were practicing before you got on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and flip. My name is Chuck Weisbart. I'm with the Idlewild Rotary Club, and I've been in the district for about almost 30 years now. And it's an honor to be your Director of Community Service this year. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the first slide. Okay. Every club has annual service projects, and we all have them in our clubs. And the first thing is, what are your community service projects? For instance, in mine, my club does banners in the middle of town to announce events in town for 501c3s. We do road cleanup, we do ribbon cuttings, we do scholarships. Every club has reoccurring annual community service projects, all right? And one thing that you always need to do is consistently assess exactly how they're going. Which ones get the biggest number of volunteers? It's really telling. For instance, in my club, when we do road cleanup, everybody can't wait to get out on Highway 243 and clean up the road. We all have our Rotary shirts on. We have so much fun doing it. The stuff we sometimes auction some of the things we find on the side of the road, but it's a fun thing. When you get more Rotarians involved, you know you've got a community service project that's both helping the community as well as getting your members amped up. Let's go ahead. Next slide, please. Rotarians join and stay in Rotary for two main reasons. You've heard this before, you're going to hear it again. Number one is camaraderie, and number two is community service. All right? Community service breeds camaraderie, and camaraderie breeds community service. Community service is your club's greatest opportunity to get new members and keep existing members. For instance, on service projects, service projects will always create re-engagement. You'll have members that have been in the club 10, 15, 20 years. They go out to do a community service project, all of a sudden they are re-engaged, recharged all the way. All right, older members get to know and engage with younger members. A lot of times they don't have a chance to do that. All right, they'll be at a meeting across the table from somebody. Everyone has fun knowing that they're improving lives, and that's the thing that's very important. All right, next slide, please. Members really don't get to know somebody when they're sitting across the table eating and listening in a meeting, all right? Sometimes there's just not enough time to talk, all right? And kind of get to know each other. The other thing is, members don't get to know someone when they're get to know somebody when they're working shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand on a project where the total effort is much greater than the sum of the parts. You know, let's face it, you're in a meeting, all right? Hey, Judith, do me a favor, hand me the salt. That's great interaction, right? All right, because you're at a lunch table, all right? But what about you're in the middle of a community service project and you say, do me a favor, can you hand me that hammer? Hand me that bag of beans. All of a sudden, you're at a different level. You're changing lives together, and that is the backbone of community service and camaraderie in Rotary. And it's something that is just so powerful, it's unbelievable. Next slide, please. Community service is also the very best way to always recruit new members. You know, tell your members to invite a friend to a project. It's a slam dunk when they see what Rotary is all about. All right. You know, my friend, hey, say to your friends, you know, my friend, I could really use help on a project next Wednesday night. Can you help me out for a couple hours? We're loading backpacks for students in an underprivileged school. You know, can you help me? All right. You ask them to come to something like that. You don't even have to mention that it's Rotary. Just tell them you're doing a community service project. Ask them if they'll help. They get there and they see what it's like when Rotarians are working one right next to the other. They can't wait to become a Rotarian. And that's one of the things, one of the best ways to recruit new potential members. All right. Community service is our stage for the community to see who we are and what Rotary really does. That is so important. It's unbelievable. All right. Hey, do you want to help me with some friends change and improve somebody's life? You just ask that question. All right. Now, the other thing is every service project needs to be bantered and publicized. The publicizing of a project is so important. You can do an incredible project, but the world doesn't know you've done it. Do we tell everybody that we're almost cured with polio? We tell them by the minute. That is so important so that people really realize what Rotary is all about. Next slide, please. All community service projects have a life cycle, and this is something we always have to remember. Every club for every community service project needs to assign a chairperson who is a team builder. Somebody needs to say, hey, that's going to be my project. I'm going to do that project this year and next year, etc. And planning and organizing is the most important thing. Projects don't just happen. You have to plan it. You have to organize. You have to find out what your resource requirements are. What's it going to cost our club to put on this service project? What is it going to need in the way of manpower? What are the logistics? How do you get the stuff from here to there? That is so important that you plan all that out. You've also, just as important is the PR and advertising. All right? PR and advertising, both conventional as well as social media. I mean, for instance, where I live, up in Idlewild, we have one local newspaper that's published once a week. But Facebook, we have like 8 or 10 Facebook groups. You want anything to happen in town, you want people in town to know about it, you put it on those Facebook Facebook pages, and guess what? Everybody in town knows about it. You've got to find out what the best PR and advertising is for your community service projects. Then you build your entire timeline. All right. The timeline is so important because all of a sudden you say, wait a minute, we're supposed to have that here next Wednesday. The event's on Tuesday. What are we going to do? You have to build it and lay everything out. It has to be perfectly organized. And when you execute the event and the project, the most important thing afterwards is to assess the successes and opportunities for improvement. This is something that most clubs never do. Yeah, we had our parade, we had our event, we did this for all these people, but no one sat there and said, what happened right, what didn't happen right, how can we improve it, all right? And that is so important. And that's how you also perfect your timeline the next time you do it. Next slide, please. You need to look at your resources, all right? Backgrounds of members in the club. If you've got somebody who's really strong in an area that will help so much on a certain type of community project, community service project, you need to enlist them to be involved in it in their area of expertise. It is so important that you use that, all right? The other thing is, what can your club really afford to spend? Have a budget and stick to it for the entire event. The other thing is, are there potential underwriters out there? Now, here's a perfect example. Let's say you're giving away bicycles, you're building and giving away bicycles to kids that don't have them. Let's say there's a bike shop here in town, and you've been trying to get the owner of that bike shop involved in Rotary, and you just can't do it. What happens when you say, you know what, Dave, I would love it if you could give us 40 bike locks to give these kids so these bikes don't get stolen? And how would you like to help us with the event? Show up. And when he sees what's going on, guess what? You don't have to ask him to be a part of the club. He'll say, when are your meetings? I'd love to come. All right. But there are potential underwriters both in your club and in the community that would love to help if you just ask them and give them an opportunity to help. Find a way to get feedback from the community. This is so important. Before, during, and after your event, ask questions. All right. With social media, it's really quick and easy. You can go ahead and throw something out there. People will give you ideas. They'll say, you guys did this really good. I noticed this going on and it shouldn't have. All right, it's amazing. Next slide, please, if you will. All right, even if you've done a project, and all of us have been there, I know a lot of us in the district have been in Rotary for a long time. We've been in the same club for many years. The project has been done for 10 or 15 years. Things change. Okay, what was an A priority 10 years ago might be an F priority now. For instance, okay, 10 or 15 years ago, it was really important to give kids backpacks, all right? Well, guess what? They may not need backpacks. Maybe they need Chromebooks because that's how they're learning, especially now. Take a look at what's going on in COVID-19. All of a sudden, a lot of kids had to learn electronically at home, and that backpack was absolutely useless to them. You have to look at what's relevant today for the same project, all right, for the same community service project, because they will evolve, all right? All right, some projects get to be as old and musty as some of our members, and all of us have members in our club that get old and musty. Well, we've done it that way for 30 years. Well, guess what? It's different now, okay? Look around and ask around. Don't be afraid. Go on fishing expeditions. Those can be so much fun and fruitful. You know, you go to rec centers, you go to religious institutions, you go to schools, convalescent homes, hospitals. We all have them where we live, all right? There's the city. There's no end to the needs that are out there. Finding new community service projects is always an easy thing to do if you're open and you ask questions. Next slide, please, if you will. Okay, ask other clubs in the district, what are your best community service projects? It's amazing what you'll find when you go to any kind of a district event, or when we're doing Zoom meetings like this. You'd be surprised what people will come up. Oh yeah, we do this in our club. Well, we never thought of that. We could do it in our community. It's so easy to do. It's unbelievable. And guess what? All right, there are Facebook groups in Rotary. You can go ahead and find things out from anywhere all the time, no matter what. Drop into a city council meeting or a homeowners association meeting as a visitor. All right, just listen. All of a sudden, there's something going on. For instance, in a lot of senior trailer parks, all right, a lot of people have abatement that needs to be done around their property. They're too old, they can't do it. You go to the manager of the homeowners association of the trailer park, you'd be surprised to say, yeah, you know what? This lady's not good. She can't do this. She can't do that. Guess what? You can help out, have a small team, make it a Saturday afternoon project. You'd be surprised. And guess what? They're so much fun. No one wants to leave. All right. Throw the question out at club meetings. You'd be surprised. Some of your newer members will know about things in the community that you don't know about, and they'll come up with ideas that are just absolutely phenomenal. Guess what? There's your chairperson for the event, all right, for the community service project. Many 501c3s will speak at your club. Sometimes opportunities are in your lap for partnering and assisting. Partnering and assisting is such an opportunity. It's unbelievable. You learn from others, they learn from you. It is so much fun to partner with other organizations. What you pick up and the cross-pollination is absolutely phenomenal. Next slide, if you will, please. Okay. For new service projects, I recommend to everybody, always start small. Plan it, start small, and within 24 hours of all projects, whether it's an old or a new project, okay, hold a Zoom committee critique meeting and document so it goes into the notebook for the next time around immediately. All of us, every group, when we do a project, always say, okay, well, we'll talk about it at the next meeting. We'll do an assessment of it in a couple of weeks. Before you know it, it's 6 months and you never got around to it. It is so important for both improvement and to make sure that you get all the members in your club to sign in and really feel like they're being a contributing part of the event. All right, if you do the assessment, because everybody's got a comment, everybody's got an improvement. Everybody saw something now that in 6 months or 6 weeks they're going to forget to mention. It is so important, it's unbelievable. Make time, all right, or have the project chair find and attend similar projects from other clubs in the district or in other organizations. If you do something similar to another organization in town and they're doing theirs, get to theirs, see how they do it. You'll always pick up good ideas. Invite them to yours, because guess what? You're not competing with them. All of you are helping the community together. It is so important, all right, that you can't believe it. And get rid of what's called NIH syndrome. Does everybody know what NIH syndrome is? It stands for not invented here. If just because it's not your idea does not mean it's not a good idea. Get rid of that. Don't allow that to exist in your clubs at all. If an idea is a good idea, regardless of whose it is, grab it, run with it, because guess what? You're working for humanity. You're not working for your club. Next slide, if you will, please. For new service projects, don't be afraid to partner or assist with other organizations or clubs on an existing project. Let me tell you, for instance, a great area that I see a lot of this in is up in the Morongo and Yucca Valley. Those clubs all grab arms and work on projects together, because guess what? Their communities are close. They're very similar. They work well together. And what's so nice is when they work together, the results that they get are absolutely phenomenal. All right. With the onset of Zoom meetings now, experts can join your group and discussion from anywhere. So guess what? You can get somebody who's an expert on something that you heard about through Rotary or on the Rotary International website, and you can go ahead and get them to speak from the East Coast to your group on something and how to have it happen and execute it, and the pitfalls that they had and the opportunities that they had. All right. Always be sure to acknowledge members that put the most into the project. That is so important. Acknowledgement doesn't cost anything. And let me tell you something, when people feel, you know what, my input on this and my work on this was really appreciated, I feel great that I was able to do it. All right. For instance, another thing that's always an opportunity to partner with other clubs is community food drives. We've heard about them, we've seen them, we've all participated in them. Doesn't mean you have to start one yourself. If there's one going on, contact whoever's running the food drive and say, you know what, my Rotary Club would like to assist or help. Where do you need hands? Where do you need backbone? Where do you need strength? Where do you need donation? What do you guys need? Let us know. We want to help and partner with you. We will support you in any way we can. And guess what? When you have a project and you need to call for extra help, you ask them and they'll be the first ones to help you because you help them. Next slide, if you will, please. We all have to remember that nothing is more rewarding than knowing you have changed lives with goodwill in your own hands. Also, the total's always greater than the sum of its parts. Community service builds Rotarians and can be the greatest source of recruiting Rotarians. Remember, the #1 reason people join Rotary is camaraderie and community service. Camaraderie breeds community service, and community service breeds camaraderie. Remember that. Community service and camaraderie breed Rotarians. Last slide, if you will, please.
I don't know how to say it back.
All right, community service projects are your stage for the community to know who you are and what you do. And that is so very important. Make sure that when you're doing a project, there are signs out to say what the project is,
hold on a second, Chuck. Martha, please mute yourself.
by your Rotary Club, and that is so very, very, very important. All right, I'll be glad to answer any questions if I can. I'm sure I probably brought up a lot of issues.
Oh, hold on a second, Chuck. Martha, please mute yourself. I got you. There we go. I'm sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm open for questions if anybody's got them.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you redo the last presentation, please?
Yeah,
Last
Chuck,
one,
can,
please.
yeah, can you do the last slide again, Chuck? I'll go back to it.
Absolutely.
Hold on 1 minute.
Okay. Just put me back where you want me and I'm there.
Okay, Chuck, that's the last slide.
Okay. Is that what you needed me to pick up, or do you want me to go back
Yeah.
one more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Community service projects are the stage for your community to know who you are and what you do. You do all this planning, you do all this work, you do the entire event. Don't forget to put signage out. All right. Don't forget to let people know who's doing the project. All right. And it's so important. It's not tough. It's the same thing as a lot of clubs have a sign that goes out in front of wherever they're meeting saying Rotary meets here. Use those signs. Don't be afraid to make a little poster saying Rotary is doing such and such. It is so important that people see it, because what you'll find out is when people see what Rotary does, people want to be part of Rotary. When they see Rotarians working together, they want to be part of Rotary. All right. All right. And basically, that is the most important thing that you can always remember about any community service project. You got to let people know what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. That was
my pleasure.
fantastic. I'm going to open it up to questions. So will Chuck's slides be sent out to everyone? Yes. Chuck, we love your energy. Go, Chuck.
My pleasure.
Here's a question. How can you submit your completed project to the Rotarian magazine? And second part, how do we use Rotary Club Central to post our projects?
Okay, if you do a write-up on your entire project, and if you go into the Rotarian magazine, okay, you can just go right in there, and I will guarantee you there's a way to submit it. You just submit it to the editor, and I will guarantee you they will get back to you. All right. And as far as going to Rotary Club Central, I can't answer that. Maybe somebody else can. Rudy, maybe you can. All right. Not to put you on the spot, sir. But that's a question that I cannot answer.
Okay, on the Rotary Club Central, each of your clubs in your leadership team should be able to go on Rotary Club Central at rotary.org. So make sure each of you should go to rotary.org, make sure you have your My Rotary account set up. So it's an email and your password, and get into My Rotary. And there's a lot of things to learn and do on there. But one of the things you can get to manage is Rotary Club Central. And in that, you can track your membership set goals. You can set goals on foundation giving, and it'll track those for you. But then also for your projects, you'll be able to put in the name of your project, exactly what you did, how many, if you donated money to it, what the cost was, materials, the number of volunteer hours, and the value of those hours. And then that's part of that is for your Rotary National President citation as well. But it's a way for Rotary to track how many volunteer hours and the value of those have been donated that our 1.2 million members are doing around the world. So that's how you do that.
Thank you, Rudy. Next question. Given our current non-gathering in groups and community, what can we best do virtually or in small groups?
Well, first of all, with the current situation, actually, quite honestly, there's an opportunity to have larger groups because more people can be included. You let them know that you're going to do a Zoom, that you're going to have a conversation, you can have a meeting. It's actually easier now because people can meet from anywhere at any time. They don't have to drive somewhere. All right. It actually is an advantage versus a disadvantage. You have to look at everything like this. And I have a philosophy. You take a situation like we are in today, quite honestly, this is, if you can make a fumble into a ballet move, it's easy to do. When did we have this many Rotarians at any kind of a district assembly coming to one community service presentation? It has never happened. Guess what? Because we're doing it this way, we can have so many people. We can have so much input. We can have such an opportunity that if anything, this is a ballet move that turned out from a fumble. And I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because the other thing that this does is you can include new potential Rotarians that are much younger, because this is how they can meet versus showing up at a meeting. I hope I answered the question.
Okay. Can we post our projects on DACDB?
I don't see why not. Okay. I'm not a whiz bang on DAC-DB, but I don't see why we can't do it on our district DAC-DB at all. All right. Because there are places to go ahead and there's a calendar, a Rotary district calendar, and you can go ahead and post it on there so that people know about it. All right. The other thing that's very easy to do before you execute your project, you can e-blast it to the district. All right. And you can put it on your Facebook, all right, and create a link. So there are many ways to do it. You just have to get creative, and you have to say, what resources do we have, all right, and how can we maximize them to get ideas from other clubs, support from other clubs, and let people know exactly what we're doing.
Okay. Next question. What and how do you suggest we access our future projects based on the needs of our community at this time?
Well, first of all, you have to do your community assessment now. You have to go ahead and say, what is the most needed thing? I mean, the most needed thing in the community might be to provide masks. Okay. Right now, you may have seniors that can't get out and go shopping. Okay. You need to sit down and say, what are going to be the 8 or 10 most important priorities? I mean, up in Idlewild, we have seniors that are afraid to go out of the house to go get food. So what do? We found a way to deliver meals where no one touches it. All right. It's dropped off. People are called on their phones and they say your meal is at the front door. Okay. So there's different things. You just have to take a look at your immediate community, start small. All right. And let it grow. And there are ways to do it. All right. But it's an ongoing thing. It's a moving target.
Okay. How can we find out when our district's clubs are having events or projects so we can volunteer?
Again, if you on DAC-DB, there is the district calendar, and if you post it, everybody posts their projects on the district calendar on DAC-DB, and people start using DAC-DB the way it should be used as an information central for the district, you'd be surprised at the amount of stuff that we can pull off, put on, get help, etc. All right. And the other thing is, if you take a look at the monthly newsletters, all right, that are coming out from the district governor, all right, with our monthly newsletter, you want to put something out there. If you know you're doing it a month in advance, ask to submit it so that people in the district, when they get their monthly newsletter electronically every single month, know it's happening. It's an easy thing to do, and say, for further information, please contact. Boom. So it's easy to do. We have good communication opportunities. We just have to take advantage of them.
Very good. So that's all the questions that have been submitted through the chat. Does anybody have any question? We can open this up now if we don't all talk over each other. If you want to raise your hand, maybe if you didn't get a chance to put it in the chat, but you have something that you really want to discuss or share, we can do that now. No.
I think David Wick has got his hand up.
David, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, given the situation now in terms of doing something like a district-wide event, which might be easier to do now with the whole Zoom situation, is there anything that a high need for the district-wide?
Could you repeat that one more time, David? I didn't get the whole thing. I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering that given the Zoom capabilities we're now becoming familiar with, are there projects that could be done district-wide in a coordinated manner that would be a great benefit someplace?
Well, I'm sure there is a ton of them that could be done, and I think you're only limited by what you can dream. If there's an opportunity and you can dream it, Rotarians can all come together and do it in one location or in multiple locations. And there's always a way to do it. You just have to think it out. I mean, for instance, events that a lot of us have had in our clubs that we can't do now. Well, how can we do the same thing? How can we do the community service or the fundraiser? How can we do it in a way where it's safe for everybody and everybody feels comfortable and they're still participating. It can be done, whether it's a fundraiser or a community service project. You just have to say, how can we re-engineer it for today's, for the situation today? And it can be done district-wide. I don't see why not.
Myra?
So I've seen, we have a Facebook 5330, and I've seen Elizabeth post, like, if we're having our assembly. Is everybody on the Facebook 5330? And do you guys post on the 5330 Facebook page?
Yes. If your club isn't on, you should make sure that your club is on and that your members are on. It's amazing what I pick up on a daily basis from the Facebook page 5330. All right. And it's a different Facebook page than it was several years ago. Several years ago, there were a lot of selfies and things like that on it. Now it's a different Facebook page, and it is very beneficial to all of us on an ongoing basis.
Yes. And Chuck, I would like to share with you that we were up in Idlewild for the weekend, and we ate at your location where you guys meet at the Red Kettle restaurant. Isn't that where you meet?
Well, actually, that's where the Banner Buddies would normally meet to put banners up on Monday morning. Our club actually meets at the American Legion.
Okay.
And myself and one or two other people get there at 6 a.m. and make breakfast for the club.
Okay. So I took a picture right next to the bench of your logo and the American Legion.
Yeah, and the guy's name who that bench was named after is Charlie Wicks, who was a longtime Rotarian in that club, and everybody in that town loved him, and we miss him tremendously. It's been gone about a year.
Just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for coming up to Idlewild.
Susan, did you have a question? Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Hi, this is Susan from the Beaumont Cherry Valley Rotary Club. I'm looking to open up an Instagram account for our club, so I wanted any suggestions as far as like any guidelines or what to put on, or if anybody has one, and just how to go about it. I have a personal one, I have another one for a business, but I wanted to know if anybody out there has one for Rotary and what your guidelines are and what you put on it and how you went about and what things you post on there. Besides your projects, like, is there certain Rotary International things that you post on it that we should have?
That's a really, really good question. And you may become our district expert in it. Thank you for volunteering, Susan.
Susan's in my club, and she and I had a conversation. Instagram is the new favorite social media.
Right.
And so that's why we were talking about doing an Instagram account, because people, because of, issues on Facebook, people are now migrating to Instagram. So for those of you that are familiar with Instagram, we do recommend that you have an Instagram page for your club.
I think that's a good idea, because my children say Facebook are for seniors.
Yep.
Yes.
And
I
let's
said,
face it.
I said, I don't care.
You know what, though? If we're trying to attract younger members, we have to speak their language.
That's
Yeah.
true. I totally agree.
And that is so very, and that's one of the reasons I really believe that doing Zoom meetings is going to help us attract younger members who can't drive to a meeting, might not be able to afford a meal on an ongoing basis, may not be able to make the time to get to a meeting. All right. I think this COVID-19 in many ways, quite honestly, has been a blessing in disguise. It's in an ugly cape, but let's stand back and take a look at what we've gotten from it. And I think there are some benefits that we never thought of. And I think we need to really, again, turn this fumble into a ballet move, and we're doing it.
Mhm.
Susan, thank you. Since we're going to be having a new club, Greater Eastville, I will bring that up.
Okay.
We need it.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to share any examples of community service projects from your club to give everybody an idea? Karen?
Stuff here. It's not our club now, but the club that I used to belong to. Rudy and I got involved in it because we were looking for something to do, some service projects in our community. And in the local paper was something about Christmas in April. So Rudy and I went, and it was great. We worked on a house. They choose houses from low-income seniors or small families and fix it up, making it warm, dry, and what's the other thing? Safe. Anyway, so we went to that, and after that, there was a club that was, they served dinner to all of the people that volunteered for this project. And volunteers could be from anyone from the neighborhood, from a neighboring neighborhood. Anyway, so we worked and we went to the dinner afterwards. And it was at the dinner afterwards that I asked about, about Rotary, and that's how Rudy and I joined. So it was a service project that brought us in. And you know what? Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Just unmute yourself because there's too many of you.
I do have one that might be interesting. Our club has been involved with the veterans at Cal State, all branches of the service. And they have a center there where they can go and study and meet and be together. And many of them are older, some younger, but they have some experiences that the regular college students don't necessarily understand. And we've had participation with them in Thanksgiving, providing baskets of food and all for their families. We find that there are several that only need food for one, and they're actually living in their cars. There's so much need. And then at the end of the year, which we couldn't do this year because the graduations weren't held the same way, for those in the service who were ex-service, who were graduating, we provided their stole that they wore with their branch of service on one side and their degree on the other side, and so that they had those. And we attended their graduation banquet and have tried to be involved, and we're having to look now at how we can be involved in this coming year, since we don't even know if the college campuses will be held on the campus. But these people are working so hard, and there's such a great need. And since all of you in some way are directly involved with the Cal State of San Bernardino, when we have a project, I'd be happy to let you know and see if you want to participate as well, because it's something that we can do that makes a difference.
Thank you. Judy, did you have your hand up?
I did, thank you. We've got a pretty expansive community service, several projects. One of them that has been really, really active during COVID-19, our senior committee does a world of things with our seniors throughout the year, all the way from the Christmas dinners, and in the summer times we deliver fans to them so that they can stay cool and in good health. Through the lockdown, we delivered food boxes from Western Eagle. So our Rotarians got together, picked up food boxes, and then delivered them to our seniors who were homebound and unable to get out or have any opportunity to get out to the store, or it was just not safe for them to do that. To date, we've delivered over 800, this is from March to now, over 800 boxes to seniors throughout our community. So it's really has grown. And from that, you know, new service projects come up. We were delivering a box to a woman who, her daughter in Spain found us online and connected with us and asked if we could give her a food box, which we did. And then when we went to her house to deliver it, we realized that in her homeboundness, she hasn't been able to take care of her yard. And so a group of us got together and did a service project for Rotarians at Workday to completely clean their yard. And we got the Boy Scouts involved as well. So one leads to another, to another, to another. And that's kind of the story of our service projects, whether they be military and homeless. And what I like about our club is we have a lot of interaction between our service projects. So the seniors bleed over into the military bleeds over into the homeless is now a new name. It's called Bridge, because they kind of bridge the gaps all the way in between.
Very good.
Awesome.
Yep.
Hello, this is Debbie from Menifee. One of the service projects that we did with the Paris Rotary was putting smoke detectors in homes for the for anybody that needed them, and it was in conjunction with the Red Cross, and it was a very rewarding project. Red Cross did majority of the work notifying the homes that we were coming out, and they gave us everything, and we went out and installed the smoke detectors, and it was a very rewarding project. And it was just a matter of being partners with Red Cross and the fire department, and it was an amazing project. It was easy.
Very good.
Hi, this is Gloria. Are you receiving me?
Yes.
One of our community projects with Kuiper Rotary is we do a career day. 6th graders, we bring in professionals, EMTs, firemen, doctors, dentists, and we take about 800 to 900 6th graders and run them through half-hour sessions with these career people to introduce them to the idea that they're starting middle school and they're going on to high school, and career planning can start. They start thinking about what to do, which it's a great program. We're in our 4th year. It's a lot of students, takes a lot of management, but it's one of our 4 largest projects of the year. We do something big every quarter. But the thing that's great about it too is it's not just the students that benefit. The parents really appreciate it, and really expands Rotary's identity in the community as to what we do. We primarily focus a lot of our efforts on children, young people. And it's a great project, and it's actually pretty simple to put together, because it's amazing how many people will donate their time to come and speak to a group of kids. And the school lets us set up in the school, so we have the classrooms to do it in, and that's a great project.
Very good. Does anybody else have anything?
Hi, I have a quick question for you. I'm from the San Jacinto Rotary, and we do a lot of community projects with the school district. And I want to, while everybody's on, propose a collaboration. Like 3 years ago, we got the shoes, from the Bob shoes that all the clubs got, came out to Mr. Schwab's house and picked up. The same organization is having clothing arrive. And I wanted to know if any of the clubs would like to collaborate and get some of the clothes.
Gloria, can you see the chat box?
Yeah, send us your information and give us a date that you are planning on.
Okay.
Or schedule, and then let us know.
Yeah, it's about $500,000 worth of clothes.
Oh my God.
Wow. Wow.
And it's going to.
We're going to have a lot of jeans, and I wanted to donate the jeans in memory of Melanie to help fulfill her request that she wanted for Mexico.
Is this a Mexico Mexicali international project?
No, I want to don't. We are getting a lot of the jeans, and that could go towards fulfilling her dream of sending the clothes. But the clothes could go anywhere if any of the clubs would like to get them.
Okay.
I do know that Governor Taco does 2 or 3 projects a year going down to Mexicali. All right. To Desayunador for kids that are pretty much orphaned and live on the streets. And I don't know how much they could take, but I'll guarantee you, and Judith can go ahead and Judith Graham can talk to this, but I will guarantee you that a bunch of that stuff could go down there and would be utilized and enjoyed by those people more than anybody would ever know. So that might be a great opportunity. So Judith, I'm going to hand it off to you for your club, okay? And Governor Taco.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, my name is Jim Janashek. I'm from the Murrieta Club. There are some good points coming up. We're fortunate that we have the superintendent in our club, but they're trying to deal with what school will look like next year. So you may want to start thinking, hey, some of these service projects you've done in the past, how whether they're teacher grants or foster kids or whatever, you may want to start talking with the school district now on how those programs might be affected in this new environment. So
totally different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My daughter teaches in Germany, and let me tell you something. Everything is changing in education. So anybody who's doing projects with schools needs to talk to the schools now for the fall, for the late summer and fall, because I've got to tell you, it's going to be a different mix, 100% versus what it has been in the past. Okay, and it's important that we are relevant in what we do. We don't want to deliver yesterday's meal. We want to make sure that we get people what they need when they need it and become the most relevant that we can.
Hey, and hi, this is Terry from the Fontana Rotary Club. And in going what you're saying is one of the things that we'll be pitching to our club this year is basically doing individual packs with a pack of crayons, pencils, in Ziploc bags, because again, we're going into a new direction and kids are going to need these items. And right now, parents can't find those items for their kids. So that's kind of our big mantra is exactly what you're saying, figuring out what we can do for our new lifestyle.
Good. Yep. We have just a few more minutes left. Is there any other projects that anybody wants to share before we wrap up? Susan, to answer your question, Terry posted that you can tie your Facebook page to your Instagram account.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, make sure that you keep your personal and Rotary separate.
Right, yes.
If possible.
Right.
I think that one thing, Chuck and Elizabeth and folks on here, you heard a lot of descriptions about the things you do in your local communities. But what was interesting was when a Rotary Club gets a contact from somebody outside the country to help a parent in need, a senior in need, and that's the power of Rotary. When you represent your community as Rotarians, and so when that Rotary wheel's out there, welcome to Murrieta or Idlewild, and the Rotary sign is out there, people know what that means. They understand that you are the go-to group if they need help with something. And likewise, if you're in another country, you find a Rotary Club. If you need something, a Rotarian will help you or your family in another country. And if you don't know how to find those Rotary clubs around the world, load on your smartphone the Rotary Club Locator app. Rotary Club Locator. All 35,000 Rotary clubs, when they meet, where they meet, contact information, you can get it right on your smartphone. And that's an incredible network that we have in Rotary. And I know that Chuck thanks you and Elizabeth, and I thank you for all the work you're doing in the community, because it makes a difference. And right now, our seniors still need help out there. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call your local senior center and see what their needs are. Or if you know somebody that's shut in and can't get out, they would love to have a phone call from you just to check on them and connect with another human being. So that's the power that you have also.
Mm-hmm. Chuck, do you have any final thoughts?
No, but one last thing to Rudy's point, there are a lot of senior rest homes, et cetera, where elderly they're not electronic, they can't read any longer. Sometimes they can watch television. You'd be surprised how much they would love it if a Rotarian would show up and just read to them, read to 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 of them, the same way we read to little children. They appreciate the fact and they love it so much. And there's a senior center, there's rest homes, there's nursing homes where they would love to have you come in and just volunteer to do that. For those who would love to be a part of it, you'd be surprised how many people would be attracted to it. So thank you, Rudy, for the idea. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, one final announcement that I wanted to make. Our district governor-elect, Barry Valdez, he thanks you very, very much for participating in these district training assembly sessions. He sends his apologies. He actually had a last-minute conflict tonight, and he did try to join us. However, he was unable to. So I just want to extend his thank you to everybody. And tomorrow night, reminder, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock is our youth service district training assembly, and that includes Rotaract, Interact, Early Act, Pride, RILA, all of the various, our youth protection officer, our district youth protection officer, Matt Smith, will be on tomorrow night. So if you have not registered, there's only a few openings left. Please do so tonight. It will be a full hour of information that you or your club members won't want to miss. And then Saturday at 9 a.m. we have our Rotary Foundation training. At 10 a.m. we have the grants management program. And then again on Monday at 6 p.m. our final session will be the grants management session. Again, for those that couldn't get registered, we filled up the Saturday class. So for those of you that couldn't get registered for Saturday, Monday at 6 p.m. will be a duplicate session for that. So with that, I want to thank you all very much.
Liz, I wanted to thank you very much for facilitating this. Also, you mentioned Barry. He's having a very important meeting on the 27th at his house.
He is.
And
he is.
so,
the president-elect meeting is at Barry's house on Saturday. You can register on DACDB if you're the president-elect. It is $25. You're welcome to bring your significant other. If you're not comfortable meeting in person, he said that's fine. He understands. And then the 28th is the president nominees session, and I believe it's also Melanie's celebration of life on the 28th as well. Is that right, Rudy?
I think that's correct. I haven't seen the exact.
Yeah. Go to DACDB and look at the calendar. You'll find all the information there.
Elizabeth, the 28th is also the district awards for the clubs.
Correct.
So look for an email for that so people can get registered. Space, I believe, is going to be limited.
Yes, thank you, Jackie. Jackie is going to be one of our presenters tomorrow night. So come back and welcome Jackie.
On the 27th, that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning.
At Barry's house.
Yes. 9 to 12.
I wanted to thank Chuck. I think you did a great job, Chuck, and thank you.
Yes.
It's an honor to do it. And I love each and every one of you. And my contact information is in the district directory. I'm always available. I will help any way I can to brainstorm whatever. There's nothing that's more important in my life than Rotary, other than my wife.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
guys.
Chuck. I'll send out his PowerPoint. If not tonight, it'll be out tomorrow.
Thank
Great.
you.
Okay.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Well
night.
done. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.